Good day, I'm your host Rylan de Esclana, and thank you for joining us on Dining Vibing in SA. I'm on the north coast of Durban in the quaint town of Verulam, and here today at the beautiful guest house, the Chamois Estate. Let's have a look. Hey Lauren, how are you doing?
Hi Rylan, nice to meet you.
It's so good to be here with you, and welcome to Dining Vibing in SA.
And welcome to the Chamois Estate.
The chocolate garden is a garden inspired by chocolate, including chocolate-colored plants, chocolate-scented flowers, chocolate mint, chocolate sunflowers, and vines. You can find these and more at Africa's first chocolate garden at the Chamois Estate in KwaZulu-Natal.
Lauren, I'm loving the style and vibe of your estate. Now tell me, this must have been a hard task taking over the family business in a global pandemic. The travel and tourism industry took quite a knock. How did you cope?
Well, it was really, really tough. The tourism industry really was the hardest hit, I think, out of any of the industries, and it took a lot of reorganizing and arranging, but fortunately we were able to, at a point after the hard lockdown, open up our restaurant, which was nice and outdoors. It's quite distanced, already in a garden, UV, fresh air. We didn't have to worry about any of that. And it was quite an attraction for families, especially people who were nervous about being in enclosed spaces and venturing out for the first time. We had a lot of repeats coming through here just to enjoy the outdoors, fresh air, and just some sort of normalcy after that hard lockdown. And obviously we're taking a bit of time to recover, but it seems like this year, 2022, everyone's hit the ground running. Now with the no masks, everyone's a bit more relaxed, and I think we're in for a good year.
Now, Lauren, your venue caters for a variety of events. I mean, weddings, parties, boardroom meetings, and let us not forget the location for a variety of South African movies. What makes the Chamois the go-to?
Yes, actually we've had a recent movie filmed here. It's called The Honeymoon. I think it's due to come out shortly in cinemas with Damien and Kata Bagwandine, to name a few. And we were particularly selected for the tropical type of theme. There's a scene that's set in Mozambique, or there and thereabouts. And so they used our wedding venue and the location really to get a few shots. And I think the tropical environment is inspired by my father. He moved here from Seychelles when he was 21, and he's always tried to bring a bit of home into our environment. So all the palm trees and staghorns, it's a lot of greenery and tropical around. So it's almost like you're walking into a bit of an island destination, but just here north of Durban.
Now, Lauren, I'm so thankful I get to experience this venue firsthand. But tell me, as a guest, what can they expect if they come to the Chamois?
Well, it really depends on the type of traveller. We get a lot of business travellers coming through due to our proximity to the airport, and for them, they like the different workspaces that they can sort of break away to. They don't feel like they're in an office. We also have those coming on holiday, maybe swimming, and then of course we've got our wedding guests who are here to party and not want to drive home, so they've got a nice place to stay. And then we've got our restaurant, which is open to both our guests and to the public, and within it there's the tortoises, geese, guinea pigs, a lovely place for the kiddies to come and play, 2 lovely playgrounds. So I think there's a bit of something for everybody, and of course the food and the milkshakes are very, very popular.
Lauren, earlier on you took me on a beautiful tour. We got to see the geese as well as the tortoise and a variety of a small farm that we had to see. You also showed me some trees that I'm sure our viewers would like to know about.
Well, we always used to tease my dad. He never used to plant flowers. He always used to plant things that he could eat. You know, growing up on an island, he was very much a forager. And so obviously we had the quintessential mango trees, lychee trees, but he also planted some pecan nuts. In the Creole cuisine from Seychelles, they use a lot of cinnamon leaves, obviously curry leaves. And so we have a lot of those around the garden. We have a tree called a golden apple tree, which is a bit of a tart fruit with a spiky pip. and something called bilimbi, which I believe is called the pickle fruit overseas, which is quite tart as well, and the fruit actually grows on the trunk of the tree. So just a few interesting and different types of trees, and also a lot of limes and citrus, because that's always delicious in any meal. So a lot of it goes into the meals that we eat, or that he eats, really. It was sort of characterized by all the things he liked and brought his taste of home to Verulam in Durban.
Now, Lauren, earlier on, you spoke about milkshakes. I'm kind of hungry now. We had a tour. It is beautiful. I think it's only fitting I get to taste the favorite dishes. Can we take a look?
Of course.
A winter's day, no doubt. However, we have clear skies and the winter sun is shining through. Rylan has had a pleasant morning, enough to work up an appetite, and now he has the pleasure of tasting Lauren's curry. Preparation is underway.
Let me take one of these. This is hot. But good. I see this in a pickle.
Yes. Okay, so I can't show exactly how we cook the curry, but I can talk you through some of the ingredients. The lamb curry is one of our most popular dishes. My dad being from Seychelles, it's a bit of a fusion cuisine, so it is slightly different to your standard Durban Natal curry that's become popular. And of course, we've also got stuff from the garden. We've got our curry leaves and thyme, which is quite quintessential in Creole cooking. It's in pretty much everything. We've got the standard onion, garlic, ginger. Can't have a curry without that. We use some mustard seeds, some cumin seeds, and we've got a garam masala and a custom curry mix. And the chilies.
Let us not forget the chilies.
Not forget the chilies, also from our garden.
Only the freshest ingredients for Adishamoy Estate, and all from their very own garden.
Just the moment I've been waiting for. It's been a full day. I think this is just about time. This looks yummy indeed, Lauren.
Some fresh chili. Of course, we're gonna have some fresh chili.
I have to have
If it's not
that.
hot enough for you, you can
If
add
it's not
some
hot
more.
enough, I had a taste of that, and I believe it's going to go just well with everything here.
Wonderful. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Bon appetit.
Well, Rylan certainly enjoyed his meal, felt like home away from home. Now, for some much needed rest, let's check out his room, which of course has its own name.
So, Lauren, before I retire from this beautiful day, why don't you tell us about the sign right here?
Sure. So each of our rooms are different, and they each have a different name. The other house is named after places or things in Seychelles, whereas this particular house with the colonial feel is named after places in Zimbabwe as a tribute to my mum. And Chirinda, which is this room's name, is named after the Chirinda forest, which translated in Chindal means vantage point or lookout. And this room looks out onto this lovely garden. And it's obviously a place of peace. So I hope you have a wonderful and peaceful rest in your room.
Rylan has had some much-deserved rest in the beauty and tranquil of Dishamoy Estate. Morning has dawned and he is ready to spend the day with nature.
Today, I'm going to be joined with LX SETH, our producer. I'm excited and nervous, where we will be talking about music, movies, and the future of this show. Come, let's get in.
Girls, my passion, let's go. They're going home, no show. Everybody got the place to go. And if you want it, babe, we can move. I got you, got you.
And with us today is the executive producer of the show, Mr. LX SETH himself. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on my own show.
On your own show, indeed. Now, so Alex, you have a lengthy list of achievements and we celebrate you for that. But tell us, what inspires you?
Well, you know, it's thank you for that question because I wake up every day. I think it's something that's very innate. I wake up every day wanting to create the best product that I can. And I think here in South Africa, I think we've got so many stories to tell. And I want to create stuff that can travel. I want to create narrative that travels. Even in my early days in the music industry, this year I've been in this industry for 20 years. Even in the early days, I wanted to kind of create stuff that found an international market. And I think that there's so many stories to tell, and I think I've got a lot of stories to tell. I used to tell stories musically, and now I tell them on a movie platform. But I think I wake up every day wanting to make the best content, especially in the climate that we find ourselves in with social media. I think the exponential growth of technology has allowed everyone to be a storyteller. That's why it's more important now than ever to be, you know, the finest at your craft, you know, because there's so many things out there. There's so many contradictory things out there. So to answer your question, I wake up every day wanting to make the best content I can.
I love that. I love the passion and the ambition that you carry over the years. Now, you are talking about the early days, Mr. LX SETH.
Yeah.
You have your own sound, your own voice, and your own lyrics. You create that. But about the early days, how do you keep up with the ever-changing music industry?
It's, you know what's crazy is that in the early days, all I ever wanted to do was get into a studio and record a record. I remember being at university and not being able to sleep at night because there was a nagging pain inside of me I knocked on every door. I swear to you, I knocked on every door. I chased every avenue. There was a lot of rejection at first. There was a lot of, you must remember, in the early days, it was difficult because I didn't have any role models. And I'll say any Indian role models to look up to say, that's a successful South African artist. How do I mimic that? So I was kind of creating it from scratch, especially with the type of fusion music I was trying to do, a mixture of Hindi and English and all of those things. So I found a producer that wanted to work with me. We got into studio, we created a sound. And I think at that point, the market was ready for what we were doing. And my first record got signed to T-Series India, which I was very blessed to have through Dharam Suraj. He listened to the record and he kind of went, that's something that, the world needs to listen to. And, we got signed, we released the album, it went to #1. But I think to answer your question, the longevity of the industry is about evolution, and evolution of yourself, evolution of your personality, evolution of your brand, and diversifying your brand. I think that's the main thing. I've seen the music industry in terms of the business model change. I've seen artists make a lot of money and now just make money on touring. I mean, I don't think many artists are making much money on streams. So I've seen that evolution. Now I see it in the movie industry, where the movie industry is moving to more, they say when you democratize, you demonetize. And that's something I love to say all the time because it's true. When everyone has access to it, it becomes a different ball game altogether. But in terms of the music industry, I think for me as a brand, I think it's more a side note now to the movies. It's become more the soundtrack to the movies. It's become, when I go into studio, it's more something that I do to score. But in saying that, I've had great success in the music industry when I didn't think I would have. But I think that now for me, my focus is feature films and obviously shows like this that tell narratives, different types of narratives.
That sounds so great to hear. It's really inspiring, Mr. LX SETH, really, of what you have come from in and over the years. But more than that, you just said something about the music that you've done over the years and how you've managed to keep relative, authentic to yourself and to South Africa, and likewise the international sound, as it were. But tell me, there's a few feature films that you've released, namely The Castle. Tell us about that.
Yeah, The Castle is something that I recently did. It was my directorial debut. I remember I opened a bottle of Jameson. That's an interesting story. I opened a bottle of Jameson one night, and I wrote two treatments. I wrote one that was called The Train, and I wrote something that was called The Castle, and I kind of put it away. And a few months later, someone called me up and said, look, you told us about The Castle, are you doing it? And I had forgotten about it. And I kind of took out the treatment. I developed it into a script. I put a team together, a very proficient team. One of them being Brandon Dengler, who came on my post-production and really helped set the project on fire. And we did it, and it got released. We got a cinematic release with New Metro, with Cine Center via Avalon. The premiere was amazing. Now we've got an international deal to release it internationally through Terra Films. So it will be released all over the world, and we're quite excited about them. But before The Castle, I did Toklosh The Calling. Richard Green directed that. I was executive producer. Really proud of what that movie did. It went to DIF. It kind of nominated for 6 Simon Sabella Awards, including Best Film, Best Soundtrack, Best Actor, Best Actress. So to name a few. So I'm very proud of that film as well, which is still doing its rounds. Also signed internationally to Terra Films. So as I said before, my main focus these days is to create visual content, and the music has just become something that supports that. But yeah, The Castle doing amazing things. Really proud of that project.
Now, Alex, you have shared with us a vast amounts of years of experience and your exposure to the industry, from filmmaking to producing, executive producing, and surely we have the best with us directing us today. But tell me, where did the concept of dining, vibing in SA come from? I know this also includes our other producer, Melanie Tracey. Tell me about it.
Well, I was in studio one evening. I think it was probably about 6-7 years ago. And I got a call from this lady, really lovely lady, that said that she was a producer on another show, and she wanted me to come on that show. And I loved her professionalism, and we kind of stayed in touch, but we never talked, and I mean we never met. And we talked on the phone and that sort of thing. And one night she said, hey, you know what, I live in a certain place. Do you want to come over? And I said, you know what, I live next door. And we lived next door to each other for all these years and we didn't know, so I went over. And it was Melanie Tracey, who's an iconic, legendary producer in her own right. She's done some amazing things. She's produced some of the most recognized shows in the country. I think that a lot of artists that you know today are there because she produced them. And we started talking. We became very fast friends. And we often spend the weekends together, you know, just... going out, dining and all of those things. And we were together, I think it was a few weeks ago. And I said, it's time. I think it's time we work together. It's time for us to do a show. And we had a meeting and we decided that we wanted to showcase the best locations, the hidden gems in South Africa in terms of dining and vibing and going out and doing all of those things. Not too different from what I do with a channel with Brandon Dengler called BAM. I've got a BAM, it's called the BAM Show. But we do something a little bit different. We go around the country just finding amazing things. But this show is very specific because we're looking for great food, great location, great people, but most of all, a great vibe.
So Alex, you said something about BAM. Tell us about that.
I was sitting with, Brandon Dengler and I worked on the castle. He worked on the post-production side of it. And we spent nights making that movie, what it was. I mean, literally nights. And he was at my apartment one evening and I said, you and I should just jump into our vehicles and just travel the country and shoot the most iconic places we can, just randomly. No script, nothing. And that became the BAM Show. It became the BAM Network. And what we do on that is we go around and find just hidden gems without any script. We take a camera and just go out and it's the most amazing thing. And I think we spent a better part of this year just kind of, traveling, living out of our suitcases. It's been the most amazing time. And he's a part of the show as well. He's our head DOP. He's our head on post-production and stuff like that. And we just are so excited to work on these sort of projects. And I think that it's really our calling to find that sort of thing, And South Africa is so beautiful. We're so quick to go, we want to travel other countries. We want to go somewhere else. And you don't really appreciate South Africa until you start to travel. And to know, there's nothing like an African sunset. There's nothing like our beaches, And those are the things we want to highlight. And even with this show, Dining and Vibing in SA, myself and Melanie, and Brandon as well, what we want to do is we want to go out and we want to kind of highlight the stuff that we have here, And the BAM channel, that's really what it's about.
Now, we've heard kind of a great load of what you do from day to day. I mean, film producing, you're creative on different projects at all times. I mean, whatever it looks like, you are there in it. Tell us, where do you find the time?
It's crazy to think about it, but I always tell people, me and Brandon go through, I think, 7 or 8 cans of Red Bull a day. I mean, my mother's been giving me a hard time about the Red Bull stuff, but you know what? If you're passionate about something, the way we're passionate about the entertainment industry, you find the time. And we're working with a great team. We've got a great team of people that are behind us and are making things happen for us as well, including yourself, the people who are behind the scenes. And I think that we don't do it alone. We've got people who help us and they have to be acknowledged. So we've got a great team that help us get through all of it. But I think that what I mentioned before is we are in an industry of diversification. You can't just be doing one product. You have to be doing many products and hope that one of them clicks and one of them stays and one of them scaffolds. So we're always trying to look for the next best thing. And that requires us to do multiple things at the same time simultaneously.
Now, we are full of surprises here on Dining Vibing in SA. We have tried some good food here at the Dishamoy Estates. And one of the things that we did not try out here yesterday is dessert. We have a surprise for you. Let's go check it out. Well, LX SETH, here is the surprise. We just would like to thank the awesome staff here at the Dishamoy Estate for bringing this awesome experience and likewise this cake, freshly baked, just for us. I think with all that being said and done, it's time to eat.
Let's dig in.
Let me enjoy what is left of my time here at Dishamoy Estate. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode here on Dining Vibing in SA. And remember, that's the vibe.